Yo, this is Super Max Hernandez, and you're watching Countdown City WrestleCast. Boom! I got it.
What's up, heels and babyfaces? Welcome to another episode of the Countdown City WrestleCast. I'm your host, JC, and I am joined this week by Tommy.
Hello, hello.
And we got Mike.
I'm Mike. I love wrestling, and like Cesaro WrestleMania, love always wins. Boom.
Please let that go strong for next year. Let that go strong for a whole year, my man. I'm looking
I just hope WWE loves Cesaro, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk all about that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us live once again. We're chancing it. We're going to try and knock this show out, hopefully fairly quickly, but we're going to have a good discussion about ImpactRebellion. There's a storm brewing in, so hopefully we can get through this. Feel free if you're there.
And I know he's the Rainmaker. Oh,
no. Well, that potentially could be part of our discussion with ImpactRebellion based on what they teased, but... thank you everyone for joining us. If you're there, live chat along with us. Let us know your thoughts on ImpactRebellion. You can also tweet at us at CCG_WrestleCast. Tommy, it's right below you. Give us a little point there. You can read it on the screen if you want. I love how you break the fourth wall there. Yes, as I mentioned, we're talking about ImpactRebellion, a very, very historic pay-per-view for so many reasons.
Yeah.
And this was quite enjoyable, I must say myself. I will note that Tommy and I definitely watched it in its entirety. Mike caught some highlights here and there. Math teacher life, right? I mean, can't blame him. So, yeah. But let's jump right into it. But go for it.
After we go through all that, you can talk about the pick results. Just gonna.
Yeah, we'll talk about the pick results too.
Yeah.
Of course.
Anyway.
Mike's a god at picking results now. Here we go. It seems like that.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, I didn't say that.
Well, let's start it off here. One of the picks that you went lone wolfing on, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
The X Division.
X Division triple threat opened the show. Josh Alexander, I think shocked a lot of people except for Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, what did you see when you made this prediction, and were you surprised that it happened?
No, I mean, with me, the X Division is always kind of about getting some of the new faces in there, and not that nothing against Ace Austin and TJP, they've been killing it for a while. But my thought was, again, we kind of talked about it last week. I felt like Josh Alexander might. I was afraid he might have got left behind after.
Ethan Page. I
was about to say Ethan Carter. That's why I was confused for a second. Ethan Page left AEW. I was like, that's not right. Ethan Page left AEW. But we know how good he was because, the North was such a dominant tag team in Impact for over a year, whatever their title reign was. So I'm just really glad he got a chance as a singles competitor. So I just felt like this was a perfect chance to, put that X Division title on them. The X Division's always been, about exciting matches and kind of not your traditional, heavyweight type style. So I just thought he would be a great mix in there, and I took a chance and it worked out. So
good call on that. Tommy, you're a big Ace Austin fan. Do you see a potential for a big Ace Austin Josh Alexander feud over the X Division title for the better part of the next year? So
I don't see why not. I don't see why that can happen. Or honestly, really in a lot of ways, I think Ace Austin can be used anywhere. If they want to move him to the tag team division with him and Madman Fulton, which I like the tag teams with the big dudes and the small dudes and everything like that. Of course, And I don't see why they can't do that. Josh Alexander is, like they call him a walking weapon, and the guy lived up to that title in the match. I did laugh because when the title change happened, it reminded me back to the old X Division days, back when TNA first started, where if you really look, that belt changed hands every other week. So I was kind of like, oh wow, this is kind of like TNA 2002, 2003, where no one had that belt for a consistent month period until like they got on TV, and then it was P. Wish for having like 6 months, and then you were like, yeah. And I think when I realized he still had it, I said, he still has that. Good for him. Good for him. But Ace Austin, can feud with anybody. I mean, because he's got that arrogance. The whole "still your wife" moniker thing and everything like that. He's got the arrogance to feud with anybody, even if they're a bad guy. I think he's the kind of guy who put in a feud with another bad guy, and he'd still be the bad guy in that feud. So
Right. Make sure I have the audio up here because make sure we're still working. All right, cool. Let's get into the next match on the card that honestly we were wondering what was going to happen with Violent by Design. We knew Eric Young is going to be out for quite a while with a torn ACL, I believe. And I will say this, he could be out there limping on one leg, sitting down on the stage and watching the match and just offering it, and he's still great TV. That's amazing how far he's come from the early TNA days. But the wrestler formerly known as Big Cass XL, whatever you want to call him.
Morrissey? W. Morrissey?
I believe that's his real name. Like William Morrissey. Right. Yeah, so W. Morrissey. And I got to say, this is probably the best he's ever looked as far as shape-wise. And I'm talking even his NXT days. We all know when he got to the main roster in WWE, he kind of thicked out a bit. Go to bed. Please go. My son's talking to me, so I'll let you guys go. I gotta open his water bottle. But he looked really buff. It was insane. Yeah. So go ahead, Tommy.
I was gonna say I like because recently he debuted in SWE Fury alongside Melina. So I guess that's still okay for him to be on 2 TV shows with 2 different names. I mean, who cares? But it was great. First of all, it was great to see him. After all that crap he went through, going to rehab and everything like that. I'm just glad he's healthy. I'm glad he looks like his old self. And like you said, the funny part was, honestly, I thought his head was going to actually hit the ceiling. He looked like standing when he got in the ring. I thought that building was no longer tall enough to support. I was like, okay, this is actually no longer safe. This man should not be in this ring. But when I was like, because it was deceptively tall, because it's like I could have sworn he was a lot closer to that ceiling than I originally guessed. But he looked great. And Violent by Design, even if he's like just their hired muscle of the other APA guys like Hernandez, I just think it's great.
Did they really kind of do that as a hired gun, or was he's part of VVD now?
It's kind
I don't know
of
if we'll know officially until Thursday. Like they may not explain.
Right, but they probably until Thursday. It's a good point. Yeah,
I guess we'll know by then. But if he is a part of it, it's a good fit.
It is.
It really is.
He brought the intensity that Joe Doring, Rhino, and Diener have. So I think it works.
Yeah, it's quite possibly this could be the stable of the year in Impact. If they run it right, yeah.
Even with Eric, and see, I wasn't really worried with Eric Young being injured. I wasn't really worried with Eric Young being injured because there's so many guys they could have put in his spot with him still being the leader that they could have just filled out that match. And I just wondering, well, who are they going to hire for the day? So even if not just for the day, but who are they going to bring in because the number of wrestling talent that's out there right now is ridiculously numerous. So,
Mike, we know Morrissey, Cass's history. Everyone deserves a second chance. Do you think he's paid his penance now and it's a good start from here at this point?
Yeah, I mean, his issues and his troubles weren't. Well, I mean, it's he's been through a lot, like Tommy was saying. He's been through, from what I understand, like the addiction and stuff. I was reading earlier that he was suffering from seizures that he was having at a constant basis, and he thought they were going to kill him basically. So, I don't, unless I am not remembering something, I don't think he's done anything that would deem it. He's unredeemable. I mean, he had a lot of personal demons to deal with, and it seems like at least now he has. So, I'm all for that. It seems like he's in a much better place than he has been, and like you said, he looked jacked from what I saw. So
Yeah,
he's on the right path.
he moved very well in the ring too. He's definitely devastating, and he's a great addition to Impact. I think it is a good fit for him. They'll slowly work him in. Obviously, they don't have fans right now. Hopefully, by the end of the year, that's something that they're able to bring into because Impact could definitely use it. Brian Myers defeating Matt Cardona. The funniest part of this match for me was Matt Striker accidentally calling Brian Myers Kurt Hawkins at one point on the commentary.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I was the only one who heard that. I was like, did he almost?
It wasn't a big deal, but he caught it quickly.
He did.
We all went with Cardona though. I thought it was interesting that Myers got the win, but
yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. Well, that's what I was going to ask because I've seen some things. Is it a work or not? What do you think?
I think it's a work to get him off of TV a little bit until Chelsea Green is available. And then I think they might do something where the both of them are coming in, possibly on a revenge angle around Slammiversary. We'll see.
That's kind of a long wait, but we'll see.
I mean, they might sporadically appear here and there. They'll do something, but if it was a work, Cardona made it look horrible. Like, even on the replay, it looked like his leg went bad. So,
well, and the reason I ask, and the reason, you're surprised we all went to Cardona, there's some people speculating that, maybe he didn't, maybe it's like one of those basketball injuries where, it kind of hurt. Maybe he could eventually walk it off, but in the moment he wasn't sure. So he basically called an audible and told Myers to pin him so they could get it done and he could go to the back. I mean, you feel like it's probably a work because it's wrestling, but there's always that little seed. So that's,
I honestly, the biggest clue on this is the referee. I think when it's a legit injury, the ref is pretty calm about throwing the X up. They'll check on him, and it's real kind of casual. So you're trying to keep it hidden. The ref in this case was like really adamant putting the X up and everything. So that's why I think it's a work. Personally,
I thought it was only because of how hard he slammed him down with the clothesline and then speared him. I thought to me it's like if it's a work, even a convincing roll up is good. Just good a quick maestro roll up or something like that. But I don't know, the way he clotheslined him and then speared the absolute crap out of him seconds later, I was like, okay, that was a work because that hurt.
I don't know. They're good friends. Like, I mean, JC, if you broke your leg, I'd give you a hard clothesline to finish the match.
And that's how I'd want you to do it. I'd honestly rather you do that to knock me out than give me morphine. It'll save me on the morphine bill for medical insurance. I'll tell you that much. If you knock me out the hard way, yeah.
Straight chair to the head. Just got to do it.
I mean, electric bills are bad enough. I'm just saying. So, or medical bills, I should say. So, yeah.
Oh my God.
I would appreciate that. So. That's true friendship, right? True friendship right there.
I'm close friendship.
Tommy, Jordan Grace, and Rachel Ellering are the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champions.
Right. Well, it took 2 months.
Does this put Grace as the first one, and since the Impact Tag Team Championship came back, she's the first one to win both the Knockouts Championship and the Knockouts Tag Team Championship, correct? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, she's the first one since they came back to do that.
Mm-hmm. So.
And technically, she's the first one under the Impact name to do both because everyone else did under the TNA name. So she's the first one under the Impact name to do both.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. I like the team. There are a couple of powerhouses. They look damn near unstoppable.
Yeah, it was something like I think even either D'Lo Brown or Matt Striker mentioned when they said now Jordan Grace is someone who matches power with her, so she knows what she can do. So I was like, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Mike, your thoughts on the tag team division in this promotion as a whole? Some would argue it's the best
women's or men?
Women's.
You're talking about women's.
Yeah.
I assume you're asking me this because you would, what team I hope shows up in a couple months. But yeah, I mean, no, they've got a solid women's tag, and it's simple. They take them seriously and they care about them. Like enough said, like they have actual tag teams. And I know a lot of tag teams get created by putting two people together, but most of the time they're meaningful even if they've kind of taken two people and put them together, and then they kind of form a team and they keep going. So yeah, I mean, I obviously they respect their tag team titles and they make them seem important, which is something, I know obviously we're going to say WWE's never done. Jordan, I don't know how long you hold on to these titles, and we hope the Iconic show up in July with Cassie Lee and Jesse McKay.
Yeah.
But those two are natural heels, and I think I would kind of like to see any of these groups, Grace and Ellering with those two razzing them, and then kind of doing their thing where they're a little hesitant to actually get in the match until they get an advantage. But that's definitely something to look forward to if that's what winds up happening. Because Impact, or whatever you say about them, has pretty much always taken their women's division seriously, and they haven't really had to have a women's revolution because they never really
started it.
They
really did.
Yeah, but I mean, they've never had to say oh, we're changing things, because they've taken it seriously at the beginning for the most part. So.
Yeah. I mean, for the longest time, TNA was, the women didn't play a major role. Obviously, there were managerial roles, but when they actually did introduce the Knockouts Championship, the tournament, it was never about short 5-minute matches. It was serious wrestling, and it was never promoted as some sort of revolution. They were equals on every match.
Yeah. To be fair, in TNA, for like a solid year, their only two knockouts were Tracy Brooks and Trinity. So that was like pretty much all they had. Ironically, until Gail Kim got there. Now, the funny part is the first couple of years they had more, but then like around 2004 or 5, that was like the only two women that were actually there, which was weird. But eventually that kind of corrected itself on its own course. So.
Yep. On to the other tag team championship. I want to say this match was next, right? Oh, no. I'm sorry. I missed the last man standing match.
That was brutal.
Very brutal.
That was a mess. Oh, my God.
15 minutes nonstop. Very well done. Great story with Trey Miguel kind of exercising his demons with Sami Callihan. Is this the part of Sami's career already where he's putting people over? I kind of feel like it's a little young for that,
I kind of feel like it's both. He does that, and he's also like just like the thorn in everyone's side. I winning the world title again sometime soon. My thing is with guys like him. I remember having conversations with a friend of mine of like guys who don't necessarily want to be world champion all that much. Like I think about Tommy Dreamer, who actually didn't want to be ECW world champion when he won it from but he had to win it because there was like nobody else there at the time, and so Just Incredible beat him up for it. It's like, does he really want it that much, or is he just saying that so he can keep getting, be that guy who challenges for it? But even if that's not the case, I think that sometimes he doesn't mind giving the rub to some guys. I gotta be honest. I gotta feel like Trey Miguel must have turned down a lot of money to not just join MSK in NXT immediately. I gotta feel like it was just, that they were just gonna offer him probably just as much, and he probably turned them down and went back to Impact. So maybe there's some loyalty there, but at the same time, is any feud with Sami Callihan really over unless you leave the company? I mean, I don't think so. He can always show up now and again and just mess with you because, I'm waiting for the day he goes back and hits Eddie Edwards over the head again with something random. I don't know. So.
Yeah, plus, I was going to say, I think with Sami, beating him in a hardcore match means more because that's his reputation. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I think he's kind of a place, maybe not overall in wrestling, but when you get into those matches where they're hardcore, no rules, whatever, that's kind of his reputation. That's what everyone thinks of him. I mean, he's still a good wrestler, but clearly he likes those kind of matches. So I think he realizes that you can really put someone over beating him. It means more to beat him in that type of match than just a regular wrestling match. And I think with it being a last standing, those kind of matches, I don't think he takes I don't think it hurts him too much to lose because he's always going to be good in those matches, and it's always going to be something. So I think for him, I mean, I know he's been losing a bit lately, but I don't think in those type of matches it necessarily hurts.
You mentioned him turning down who knows how much money to go to NXT, and I think that's fine because I feel like he might have been lost in the shuffle with MSK. As a tag team, they're great. As a stable, they really don't do too well with them. Outside of Undisputed Era, obviously. But do you think Impact rewards Trey Miguel's loyalty, and do we see Trey Miguel in the world title picture by the end of the year, possibly?
Probably by the end of the year, yeah. I mean, he was in it briefly during Slammiversary last year when Eric Young and all those guys showed up and all that. So, I mean, I can see him being in there for briefly. Even if he doesn't win it, I don't know if he'll win it this year. Maybe next year. We'll see how he's booked. I do know that some of the spots he took, I kind of think he deserves the number one contender. Like when he dove full force into that guardrail, I audibly screamed. Like I thought he didn't. I didn't think he missed time or no. I was just like the way he landed. I thought like, okay, this match should actually be over because that looked painful as hell.
Now onto the other tag team division, the men's. Is anybody gonna ever beat FinJuice at this point?
I think so, but dear God, don't let it be the Good Brothers. Anyway,
look, I saw parts of the ending of that match, and I thought they were going to win it back. I was like, oh, no way, they're going to, give them their win, like they're going to trade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there was some toward the end, but no.
Yeah, actually, it looked real close for a second there. I was like, no, and then they won. I was like, yay! So.
Yeah, I hope FinJuice has a solid run with them.
Yeah.
Like you said, Good Brothers, even though they're in Impact, they're obviously going to be embroiled in the Kenny, AEW storyline thing. So I think it's fine to keep the belt on FinJuice and have them, wrestle some other teams.
And also, I think they're also really happy just doing their own thing with they ever do the Talk and Shop Mania. It's like they have this freedom to do a lot of stuff that they just want to do now. And it's not saying that they could do this with the tag belts. I fully believe they could. I think Impact wouldn't mind. It's like, we don't care, do it. But it's like that gives that frees them up, and it keeps the relationship with New Japan strong. If you have an actual still fully signed tag team have the belts, which I'm still hoping for if it stays the case, because yes, I'm hoping for what you guys are thinking I'm hoping for. So
we'll talk about that later. Yeah, but go ahead, Mike.
Real quick, with what you just said, it makes me think of the Good Brothers as the Deadpool to New Day's Marvel MCU. New Day does all their fun stuff and they have a lot of fun, but they always kind of keep it family, WWE. And when you listen to Talking Shop or you watch Talking Shop or Mania, it's like the Deadpool version of whatever we want to do kind of fun stuff. I
absolutely agree with that. Yeah, that works actually. You're right.
Bernsey, I see you there. Thanks for joining us as always. We appreciate it.
Hey, Bernsey.
We're talking, of course, Impact Rebellion. We've got through most of the card right now. Now, we just mentioned FinJuice. Does anybody ever going to beat them? Is anybody going to beat Deonna Purrazzo for the Knockouts Championship right now?
That was actually the next thing I was going to say. I was hoping we were going to do that because she's looking damn near unstoppable.
Yeah.
Especially with a faction behind her as far as Kimberly and Susan, or whichever persona that Su Yung brilliantly comes up with now. Because just when I thought she couldn't get any better, she came out as a Karen. But no, man, I'm trying to figure out who they could sign. That guy.
Are you thinking it might take a hot mess to beat her?
It might. Someone. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Someone she can't really fully prepare for. Someone who's unpredictable.
Someone just a psychotic, I mean, I think the one loss. No, did she lose to Su Yung when Su Yung came back as Undead Bride? I can't remember if she did.
I don't remember. I can't remember either. Yeah,
I don't remember if she did, and then she won it right back. But still, it's.
You know what? She beat her for it. I don't remember. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It might take some surprise psychotic return and who knows if Chelsea Green is that person? Obviously, a hot mess. We know.
No, I just said it, but I wanted to say that.
Yeah. So.
Let's see.
But yeah, Purrazzo right now, I'm enjoying her run. Everyone, people are gonna wonder, Has she been champion too long? This is like who she's going to beat everybody. What's the point of this? She damn near deserves it because she didn't get her fair shake in NXT.
When did she win the title?
Okay, so JC, you're right. Su Young did beat her back for it, but then she won it right back. So she first won it at Slammiversary in July last year.
Mm-hmm.
Su Young won it back at Bound for Glory, and then Deanna beat her back for it at Turning Point, which is I think Susan showed up not too long after that. So
yeah, Susan returned. I think Peraza was supposed to wrestle somebody else at Bound for Glory who there was like an injury or a positive COVID test. I want to say it was Jordan Grace or something, and they had.
Or was it Kylie Ray? Was that one? Was Miss Kylie Ray that night?
It was Kylie. It might have been Kylie Ray.
Yeah.
And then they had the surprise return of the Undead Bride, which was freaking awesome, and that's what she won. And then she just won it back. But what I'm enjoying about this run is Peraza flat out said when they let her go from NXT, and she wasn't holding to a 90-day clause either, y'all didn't believe me. I'm going to bet on myself. She called out everybody in that company. She went on Busted Open Radio. She went everywhere, did interviews, and she's backing it up. Say what you want, but I'm at a point right now where I want to see her take on the best the women have in AEW. You've already got that relationship there, you know?
Well, see, here's the funny part. I think a lot of the women in AEW also want that, honestly. Yeah. I think a lot of them want those matches, too.
Who wouldn't want to see Thunder Rosa come take a shot at Deonna Purrazzo?
Who wouldn't want to see Big Swole take a shot?
Or let's put two women that are unstoppable right now. Hikaru Shida and Deonna Purrazzo. I'm not saying you have to go title for title, but even if it's just an exhibition, who really is the better person? And that's a super fight. Because
that match ended a time limit draw, and we all know it.
Who's the better wrestler, the better person? I mean, are we judging this? I'm just kidding.
You get my drift, right? So, congrats to Deonna. So
only one of them donates to charity now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now,
so you know.
Speaking of title for title matches, that main event though.
It was slightly heartbreaking to watch.
Tommy, of course, was the only one that picked Rich Swann. Mike and I went Kenny Omega.
I was ready to die with that sword, and I did. So,
yeah,
you know.
But I thought it was very interesting how they played up the whole, okay, we got to have two referees, so make sure it's fair. Hearing Mario Ranello's voice on the call was awesome. He called an amazing match.
He did.
23 minutes, I think, was the time of the match. And so many finishes, so many things here and there. Tony Khan at ringside acting all giddy. I mean, he's a fan. I know he's an owner, but I love that he's a fan. Yeah, so
he's an absolute fan.
Although he looked a little awkward in his backstage interview because he kind of came up and was looking right at the camera. Thanks for having me. Like he was reading cue cards and stuff like that. The interview was over here. I was like, look at your interviewer. But this was obviously match of the night, I think. There were some that trying to steal the show, but Mike, where do you go from here? Omega has all the gold for two companies. What happens now?
I mean, I think he just kind of continue his run for a bit. I think, you know, as much as we love Impact and all that they've done, they obviously just don't have the reach to a more broader audience. You know, you got WWE on USA, you got AEW on TNT, and you know, Impact's on that. And to like wrestling fans and to, you know, to us, obviously we know about it. But, you know, Kenny Omega shows up on AEW, on TNT with this title. They're going to talk about it, obviously. They're going to mention it. So, you know, that helps, you know, that helps Impact get some recognition. You set up a lot of things, you know, Moose on the Impact before the pay-per-view told Swan, you lose your belt, I'm going to hurt our belt, I'm going to hurt you. You know, I think we may see a storyline with maybe not just Moose, but several, you know, Impact people kind of shunning Swan because he lost the belt. You know, AEW has been slow building this Adam Page to eventually come and get back at Omega. So, you know, I think you should, at least for, I mean, I don't know, maybe a couple months to a month or two, Omega keeping both belts before, you know, like I said, someone like Moose, or I don't know if there's, you know, someone else who maybe comes in to defend Impact. and he just puts the Impact title on the line. So you're not. He doesn't have to always defend both belts, and eventually, maybe after a couple months, after the crossovers work for a bit, you take the Impact belt back off him and kind of let him get back into his AEW storyline. That's my thought.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's going to be defending Impact on some Impact pay-per-views. That seems to be the biggest thing. Impact Plus, Impact, whatever. That seems to be the route to go for him. But yeah, I'm interested to see if Moose invades AEW. If we're going to see that, he wants the belt back, because for one thing, Swan was holding both belts. The TNA Heavyweight Championship and the Impact. And we know Moose wants that TNA win back. That was his thing. So that's definitely a big storyline. Who gets the rematch for who gets the match first then against Omega, Tommy? Swan or Moose?
Smart money's on Moose, just because I have a feeling he'll do something to incapacitate Swan, after the warning he gave him. So, so I say Moose, and I think that'll kind of be the bigger storyline coming out of it, especially if Moose wins, because then he'll be the quote unquote savior of Impact, and then he'll ride that coattail as long as he can. So,
oh man, and then even after.
What's up?
Crazy?
No, I'm sorry. I just said I like that because then even off of that, you could spin a Rich Swann heel turn, because bitter about the fact that he loses it and then Moose wins. Sorry, just a thought that kind of popped in as you were saying.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think of that. You're right, though.
There's a lot of deep storylines that can go with this. I think it's safe to say right now, Omega holds championships in 3 companies: AEW, Impact, and AAA. I think it's safe to say this guy so far, and we're not even done with 4 months into the year, is wrestler of the year. If he keeps going.
I mean, the number of titles. I mean, in all fairness, your uncle owns or runs the other company, so I don't want to crap on Omega necessarily, but
I know, but
let's see what Swiss Superman pulls off.
I mean, he's making a case for it right now. So
if they, dear God, let's hope, let Cesaro have his run, it'd be the one thing. There's that one other guy I will give the current rub to, just because of how they're booking as well, Ospreay. I'll give those 3 guys the neck and neck running to Omega as far as wrestler of the year already, because of the 2020 they've had so far. And I'll throw Roman Reigns in there just because he deserves something. So,
and in all fairness, I want to put Cesaro a little ahead because he has to overcome WWE booking. So
it's a good point this man just brought up.
On his matches alone, I think he's up there with any of them. But then you have to overcome Vince McMahon in charge. If he pulls off a title win at any point this year, that's wrestler of the year, hands down. Because to overcome that, I'm just saying.
The man's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I can't argue with that. All right. As for our predictions, how we did on the event, Tommy and I actually both went 4-4, and Mike 6-2.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. I think you definitely.
Not bad.
Yeah. He's in the lead right now for the Tez Award. So at the end of the year. So yeah, definitely.
My 2 were I lost Cardona and Sammy, right? Because I picked Sammy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Sammy. Where is it? Yeah, those are the 2 that we all actually picked and got right. So, or got wrong. Excuse me. So yeah, those are the only 2 we missed on. So. Now we'll get into our WrestleCast ratings for Impact Rebellion. We rate from 0 to 5, 5 being WrestleMania 17, and 0 being December to Dismember. I'm going to start this off here and say I'm giving this event a 4.25. It was a lot of fun. I was very impressed. There really wasn't a bad match there. Slow in some parts, but I think this is kind of the start of them building up to Slammiversary. They've teased their next few events over the next few months, and I think this is really the start of if you want to call it a saga of movies or something. You have the Rebellion, you have Under Siege, you have Against All Odds into Slammiversary. They're going to do a lot with the storyline of AEW versus Impact, and this was really the good starting point to kick it off. So I'm starting with a 4.25, and a lot of that mainly is thinking like this is going to get better as it goes along. I can't see a reason why it wouldn't. So, Tommy, what's your rating for the event?
So my reason, I got to be honest. I was never bored watching this. I was, even the matches I picked, I knew I was wrong. I was thoroughly impressed with how they got. I mean, because like, that's one problem when we're wrong with WWE is how we get to how we're wrong. It's like, man, at least been fun to be wrong about that. But for this one, it was even fun to be wrong about this because even like the Trey Miguel, Sami Callihan match, the fact that he crawled underneath the ring through the other way to stand up in time, I thought was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing. So honestly, my rating is a solid 5.
Wow.
Because I was thoroughly impressed with how they pulled the show off. And honestly, I think the Omega winning was just kind of heartbreaking for Impact purists. So it was the right amount of heartbreaking for Impact fans to like, and also probably one thing that helps put it over, I gotta be honest, was the fact that Taylor Wilde came back.
Yeah, we didn't even mention that. I forgot to mention that. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah,
I'm a diehard Taylor Wilde fan. When she announced she was coming back to pro wrestling, I was so thrilled. And when she showed up, and she is, you know what? And that's what I'm going to say. She's actually in my top running who could beat Deonna Purrazzo, because when she first started, and when she was on firing on all cylinders, she was so tough against people like Kong, Gail Kim, and everything. She was one of the people who, I know she left to go back to school, I think she said, which, was fine. But I think if she could have stayed, she'd have absolutely been another pillar that TNA would have built the women's division on further. Like, she would have been up there with Gail Kim and Kong and everybody else.
What? And wasn't it also part of it that, like, while she was champion, she was still having to work at, like, a store at the mall because she wasn't making enough? Was that her, right?
Yeah, she still worked somewhere while she was champion, yeah. So, yeah, you're right.
That's gotta kind of suck. And
the old era, right? Yeah. And that was back when, we had reports of them missing paychecks, not paying on time, and things like that. There was a dire straits.
Glad for better situation there.
I'll note that the only other shows this year Tommy has given 5s to are Wrestle Kingdom 15 and NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. We're not even halfway done with the year. Man, Tommy's been impressed with wrestling so far in 2021. So. I didn't hear anything.
Your apologies.
I apologize.
Oh, okay, we're good.
Now, Mike, I know you didn't see the whole show. Are you comfortable giving a rating, or you just stand?
I mean, I would have to give it a 5.625 to just keep the average of you two guys. No, I'll probably refrain just because, I mean, I read a lot about it and I saw a lot of clips, but I didn't get to see the whole thing. Okay. It seemed like it was a great show. I still might try to watch it just to go through it, but I'll refrain from right now. But yeah, I mean, it seemed entertaining. It didn't seem like anything was really, lacking or anything was kind of boring, like y'all said. But
yeah,
I'll let y'all speak with you two.
It was an enjoyable show. If you're watching and you got to see Impact Rebellion, even if you catch us later, put in the comments here. Let us know what your rating is from 0 to 5 for it. Even if you check it out now, because I believe it's still a replay. If you can go to Fight TV, watch the replay there, or wherever you get your pay-per-views. Go check it out. Definitely worth it. Our overall rating, just from Tommy and myself, is 4.625.
Yep.
Good job.
Burnsy fired one of us. I'm not sure which one.
I don't know. Probably Tommy. He always fires Tommy. Now,
I'm always fired.
One thing they did talk about during the show is what they have lined up going forward. The next event Impact has is Under Siege, May 15th on Impact Plus.
Steven Seagal showing up?
Maybe. I have a feeling this is going to be a
lot of possibilities with them. So
I have a crazy feeling this is going to be a very heavy Impact versus AEW type show, just from the name itself. And with Double or Nothing a couple of weeks after that, they're setting something up where they could be doing something at Double or Nothing for AEW.
I'm down.
Against All Odds is June 12th. That will be on pay-per-view, whether it's Fight TV or your standard pay-per-view. And then there was the trailer for Slammiversary. They didn't give a date. All they said was July on pay-per-view. Obviously, we assume it's after July 14th. And it kind of works out because last week we previewed this event. We talked a lot about the wrestlers that just got released. And there were pictures to them referenced in the trailer for Slammiversary, some references to them, and some others that weren't even mentioned. The faces that featured prominently were Mickey James, Samoa Joe, Chelsea Green. They had images of. There was, of course, a reference to the Mexican flag. My thought is Kalisto. You had the Australian flag. We know what that's referencing, Mike. And all of a sudden there was you're Aussie. And
Hey, mate.
Tommy's got the shirt there. They had a couple of shots of Okada.
But Tommy, is it problematic in 2021 if they make him come back as his character when he was there the first time?
They would never do that. Scott D'Amore is not an idiot.
No.
I think he'd rather shoot himself in the actual foot than actually get a gun and aim at his foot and pull the trigger than do that. Because if they did that, it would be the same amount of effect on the business itself. So.
Oh, there goes that door.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the trailer we're talking about, go check out our Twitter. I retweeted it on CCG_WrestleCast from the Impact official Twitter account. They put the trailer up. There's a lot of showing flags and stuff, and it ends with the words, "Our world changes again." They haven't done this in a while. Is there some sort of World Cup coming to Impact?
I think, honestly, they should do another one, kind of like since the world is beginning to open back up. It's not fully open back up, of course, because a lot of the places. But the World Cup for TNA, honestly, after the women's division, then the X division, whenever they did a World Cup, was always a highlight. Right. Even when they did it during the early TNA days, when they only had the $10 a week pay-per-views, whenever they did the World Cup, they would have team. They would always have. This is, in fact, where Team Canada even first came from. They had Team Canada, Team Mexico, Team Japan. They would do Team International, and even Team USA was just the TNA roster just thrown together. That was always a highlight for me because then you saw people who you weren't familiar with. Honestly, this is how I discovered a lot of people I had never heard of before. I didn't know who Hector Garza was until TNA brought him in. Honestly, I didn't know a lot of Japanese talent until TNA brought them in. When they brought in Milan Collection AT. So some other people they would bring in. Naruki Doi was another one. That's who it was. And because of them bringing them in, they would do that, and I would get to know them. And now I think this is a good time too because now, honestly, as much as they, are bringing in Impact for AEW to start people know that Impact's still around because I think a lot of people didn't even know. Mm-hmm. Now that they do that, when people tune into Impact, especially for Slammiversary, if they're doing a World Cup. You're going to see all the people from all the places who can finally travel again, at Impact of all places, and that'll be shocking, but hey, it'll work. So,
Mike, your thoughts on the trailer? I'm sure you've seen snippets of it.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit before. I mean, they did this before last year's Slammiversary, and the thing is, and it's kind of true last year as this year, that there's quite a few people in the release that have been in Impact. And then, like you said, Okada, even though it's not a WWE thing, he had been in Impact. So, they have footage of some of these people from earlier on, and then they use the flags to reference some of those other people because they don't have footage that they own of them, obviously. They did this last year, and they teased Rusev. They teased either the Russian or Bulgarian flag, I forget what it was. And obviously, he wound up in AEW. So I don't think everyone they show is going to show up, obviously, at Slammiversary. A lot of them is just, we have that footage, they're out there, it creates intrigue. That being said, I do think there is a good chance of a lot of these. And on top of, the Iconics, because we think it's a good fit, I think it makes sense for, Mickey James, who has such a deep history with Impact TNA. As much as we want to see Samoa Joe go to New Japan, that's what I really want to see. I think it would be cool, even if it was a one-time or a short deal thing, for him to show up again. Same reason. He has, a real deep tie to TNA Impact or TNA, Impact. So I definitely think we're going to see some of these people. And like I said, AEW has to deal with them. They seem to have some working relationship with New Japan. So, Okada could, if not literally show up at Slammiversary, be part of something where they're working maybe through AEW. So, I mean, it's always fun at Impact. You know, they're smart enough to know how to create buzz, knowing that maybe it's not all going to happen. But I think it'll be interesting because the World Cup thing would be fun. Like Tommy said, they were always entertaining. And I think part of it, though, too, is just, like I said, they use the flags because, you know, a lot of people know that, you know, the Iconics were Australian and they don't obviously have footage of them in Impact.
Bernsey says, "You got to be kidding me." I wonder if that's the phrase they're going to use now. If they're not going to say, "You got to be joking me," "You got to be kidding me."
Well, that was Don Callis' phrase when he was not Don Callis. What is his name? Who used to commentate for TNA?
Don Callis or Mike Tenay?
Mike Tenay, the guy with him.
Shivani?
No.
Damn.
Don West.
Don West.
Don West. There you go. It was Don. I was like, wait, it is Don.
Something, but it was Don. But then again, knowing Jessie McKay, she could still rework that. You gotta be kidding me. So you know.
I mean, they didn't really trademark joking me. I'm sure.
That's what I mean. Like she just said that because it came out of her naturally. I don't know if they ever trademarked it.
Yeah.
It should be sure. We would have bought it.
I'll note that July 14th is a Wednesday, so July 17th or 18th could potentially be the earliest weekends that they could do Slammiversary and have all this talent debut on Impact.
Right.
Or like Rhino did show up in a hoodie and a mask and like attack people and leave before.
That's very possible.
Did that, and everyone knew it was him. Yeah. I was like, you.
Bernsey, thank you, Don West. We got it there. Now, Mike, you mentioned you'd like to see Samoa Joe go into New Japan. Do you think if this is some World Cup and we're going to see some New Japan talent here in Impact, if that's what we're theorizing, do you think we're going to see some talent from Impact, possibly like Samoa Joe or some other Gaijin or American wrestlers, be a part of something big in New Japan, say the G1?
I mean, I would love something like that. I mean,
yeah.
Again, like, you know, Samoa Joe spent the majority of his career in Impact and TNA. You know, he made his run to WWE. I don't want to completely say they misused him, but it's really disappointing. It's really disappointing he wasn't a bigger part of the title picture. You know, outside of Great Balls of Fire, you know, his great match with Joe, and even the lead up to that. I mean, his great match with Lesnar, I should say, and the promos and the crap talk and the shit talking he was doing. In those lead up and then just to not, you know, to succumb to one F5 at the time was disappointing. But yeah, so my question is, I know Samoa Joe is from California, but his name is Samoa Joe. Does he get to be on Team USA or is he Team International?
I mean, Samoa is actually an American territory, so why not? You know? So, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Well, we'll see what happens. Our world changes again is the slogan they're using leading up to Slammiversary. I do want to note, though, that, as I mentioned before, Under Siege is going to be on Impact Plus. Impact right now, they're doing a special promotion they're giving away 2 free months of Impact Plus. If you use the promo code RebellionX, that's in all caps, REBELLIONX, you can sign up for Impact Plus, get 2 free months, which at this point, if you sign up now, you get to watch Under Siege for free. And check out the entire collection. It's a really good collection of what they got. Pretty soon, they're actually going to have this pay-per-view on there as well. So if you catch that within the next 2 months, you can watch that. So that's actually a really good deal they got going right now. I think Under Siege is going to be a really, really big event. So it might be worth it to get signed up now.
So, wait, is it one of those deals where you can 2 months free and then you can cancel before...
Most likely, there's no commitment, so it might be worth it to check it out. I would recommend, though, if you are going to sign up for Impact Plus, do it through a web browser or on your phone. Like, sign up like you would normally for a service, and then when you add it to, say, a Roku or your phone, log in with the login that you have there. If you try and sign up through like a Android or Apple phone or through your Roku, they're going to charge it through your Roku account, and that gets all crazy.
Oh, yeah.
The easiest thing to do is just to register through the Impact Plus website. Get your login set up, and then you can go log in on all the streaming devices that you have.
Gotcha,
yeah, it's worth it. I definitely plan to sign up because I want to see Under Siege. It should be a really, really good event.
I'm just sad that they have a title like Under Siege and Abyss isn't there anymore. I just thought that would be the title. Like he would like show up with like the monsters, barbed wire, to all darkness kind of match or something. I don't know.
Well, Abyss may not be there anymore, but Rachel Ellering's back hole slam, good lord, she hits that perfect.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I say that, but we do still have Rosemary Jessica Havoc and Sue Young whenever she wants to show up as the Undead Bride. So
yeah.
I want that B movie so bad. Like I still want that movie. I want that horrible graphic because I would watch it all the time. Come on, Impact, Scott, just shoot the movie. I'll write it. Just shoot the movie.
Hey, if they can convince Tony Khan to give up some of that Jaguar money and
he missed it. I mean, come on.
I mean, the Jags are going to be making a lot of money now, especially with Urban Meyer, and they have the number 1 pick in the draft. So we'll see if they cash in on Trevor Lawrence. So, all right, a little bit of wrestling news to discuss. There's a couple items here. First off, Ronda Rousey and her husband announced they are expecting their first child. So all the rumors about Ronda being potentially coming back is not going to happen anytime soon. But a special congratulations to Ronda Rousey. When she left WWE, this was the main reason why she wanted to start a family. So for her and her husband, congrats.
Yeah.
Enjoy the pregnancy. Enjoy parenthood. Good luck, because who knows, maybe in the middle of your match or something else you're doing, you might have your kid pop in because they want some water like I had earlier today. And so, but special congrats to them. Just enjoy it. I think she said she's 4 months pregnant at this point, which I think she said is due around September, October, if I'm not mistaken. So
that's cool.
Yep. Other bit of news: turns out Charlotte's suspension was due to her having to get a dental procedure done. Who knows how long she's going to be out, but that's where they were going. That's the life reason.
Apparently, y'all don't watch Raw like me either, but apparently she already came back last night. So.
Okay. Well, I guess it was a quick procedure.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
okay. Everyone complains about AEW's booking. Have we just forgotten Raws altogether? It's like everything.
Well, no, yeah, I think that's a problem. I think people have forgotten about Raw.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think they're complaining about it because I'm not sure they're watching it. Like,
no, I will notice. I'll be honest with you. I'm not very much. I'll catch highlights here and there. NXT is obviously way more entertaining, and SmackDown is definitely way more entertaining of the WWE properties. Raw is kind of fallen off the wayside, So
And the funny thing is, I didn't watch it, but like I see things pop up on my Twitter, and okay, I understand that like when Rhea Ripley came in, she was kind of heelish towards Asuka, but apparently last night she teamed up with Shayna and Nia as like because they're all the champs.
No, think about it.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Like Rhea Ripley with them? Like it doesn't like even as a heel. I don't think she should be like that. Just doesn't work for me. I don't know.
that doesn't make sense.
That's why I don't watch it.
Okay, so real quick, since we're talking about it, the biggest complaint I've been hearing about AEW is that they don't create new stars. To an extent, I'll explain. To an extent, I almost agree with that because they said the focus is always on the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, especially right now with this whole storyline. To an extent, I will agree with. But at the same time, look what they're doing with Rhea Ripley right now. She should be on top of the world as this babyface champion. She should be like riding this train until she becomes a heel later. But why is she teaming with the heel tag team that, by the way, no one really cares about?
No. And on top of that, like just about the bad booking. So Mandy Rose slips at WrestleMania, right? We know that. And then apparently on Raw, they did some story the next night with Nia slips. But because it's WWE, they can't do it once.
Yes.
Apparently, like for every Raw since then, Nia has slipped. And it's just like, why? This is why I'm afraid, going back to tie it back to like my stuff, why I'm so afraid for Cesaro. Because that first SmackDown after WrestleMania, they showed his UFO spin on Cesaro legitly 6 times on that show. Like they would come back from break and just remind you, look what Cesaro did. And they don't understand. They think they're getting him over. It's going to kill him because there are already people on Twitter like, dude, that was awesome, but I've seen this like 5 times tonight. Like they don't, they think they have to like just over and over. And like, I don't know, maybe a rando who's never seen it's like, oh, that's cool. But for most wrestling fans that watch it, like, no, we get it. Let's move on before they turn him into, the old Roman Reigns, or I hate to say it, the current Drew McIntyre. Like a
Yeah,
baby
well,
face that just doesn't have any personality.
I think people get turned off when you feel like the booking is insulting your intelligence, and I feel like that's what happens with it. Now, to anyone that said that AEW doesn't make new stars, kiss my ass. This guy was on the cover of a PWI magazine for the Achievement Awards, so whatever.
And I'll also correct them one time, even more recent than that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys saw Jungle Boy and Darby Allin from last week for the TNT title.
Yeah, that
match shut it down, man. I was not expecting that match to be as good as it was. No offense to either guy, because they can wrestle, and I knew it would be good. That one was like especially if you're going by TV matches of the year, if that one ain't in your top 5, I gotta ask what you're watching, because that one could easily be a TV match of the year top 5. Easy.
Oh, okay, I have another okay. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying, but the Darby Allin storyline with Sting. Darby Allin is challenging everyone, so he's challenging faces, he's challenging heels. It's weird to me that because Sting's storyline is he watches Darby's back, I guess, like he got into it with the Dark Order when it was John Silver versus Darby Allin. And the Dark Order's face now, and they weren't really trying to get involved or cheat on Silver's behalf, but they had to do something with Sting getting involved. And then I didn't see the whole match, but I heard the same thing happen with Luchasaurus. That Sting got into it with Luchasaurus. Mm-hmm. And that's just a little weird to me because they're all faces.
So I actually had a theory about that. So my theory was, because the thing with Luchasaurus was Jungle Boy was outside of the ring and he was almost counted out. But Luchasaurus helped him get back in the ring while the ref wasn't looking, and that's why Sting got into it. My theory is that that's supposed to push Darby into challenging Sting sooner or later, saying, "I don't need your help so much." That was my theory.
If it comes to that, then I'll forgive it a little bit. But
that was my theory. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and it's just weird. But if that's really wrong with that could work,
And look, you know me, I'm a huge Sting mark, but I don't know. For me, I mean, he helped Darby out, but now it's just kind of been I just watch your back, and then I get involved with one person because it's hard for me to move as well. So I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
You're on the right track there. So.
Well, at least he's not in the main event every time.
Good call. All right. With that, do you guys have anything for a 1-minute warning this week? Mike, we'll start with you. Do you got something?
I have something. I do have something. It won't. I doubt it'll be the full minute though. But yeah, I have something.
Okay. Mike, do you have something or no?
No. I mean, it's probably going to be the same thing I was saying last week. It won't be a minute either. It's just this. WWE, don't mess it up. All right, real quick, if you watch SmackDown, Roman Reigns came out at the beginning of the show the week before, and Reigns just left him, ignored him, didn't answer him. He had the match with main event. Jimmy Uso beat him. He starts off SmackDown, and with Daniel Bryan comes down on his behalf. So I actually started getting hyped because I was thinking, okay, this is a smart idea. Daniel Bryan's kind of winding down. Let him be the mouthpiece for Cesaro and do more talking. And then Reigns is like, no, I don't want to fight you, Cesaro. I want to fight Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan, if you lose, you have to leave SmackDown. And that's coming this week. So I was like, so just as you plant this good idea of Daniel Bryan being kind of a mouthpiece for Cesaro to help him out, you're going to basically take him off SmackDown. I was like, I don't know. I have no faith in WWE booking for Cesaro, so I'll just be excited if it happens.
You're starting to sound like a jaded teacher at the end of the school year. You're just ready for the summer to be here. Oh, wait, how did that work out, right?
Wait,
that's weird. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can see it. There's a lot of optimism about what they had for Cesaro, and now you're just, please don't screw it up. And I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful.
Have either of y'all seen the second Major League movie with
not in a long time.
Randy Quaid in the outfield?
Not in a long time, but I think I know what you're referencing.
Okay, so I'm at this point now. I don't know if you remember the movie, but in the last game, he's still anti-Indians because they suck in the middle of the season. Mm-hmm. So up until the very end, he's like, they'll lose it in the ninth, and everyone's throwing stuff at him. Mm-hmm. He's like, they will. That's what I feel like with WWE booking. It could be like it could get Cesaro to a main event WrestleMania match. Like they'll blow it that Mania. It'll be a dumb match, and they'll screw him over somehow. That's literally where I'm at with it.
You sound like our parents sometimes when they were watching the Cowboys and the Spurs growing up. Like, they're gonna blow it. So one of those things.
Well, I mean, the Cowboys have been blowing it for 30 years. So that's pretty good.
I was gonna say, or honestly, and I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, or the Cowboys now because Jesus.
The last time they really won, we were at we were at Stevenson and then freshman year at Central. So I mean,
yeah, that's true. They've had hints of it, but yeah.
It's been a while. Basically, the length of our friendship, they haven't won. So think about
That's
that.
what it is.
I blame you two for this thing.
It's fine.
Fair enough.
I blame you for the Taker streak ending. I'm still holding to that.
You might as well. That was such the fun out of that weekend anyway, dude. I was so mad. Oh God. Paid money for that.
Tommy, I know I just dropped that on you, but do you have any 1 minute warning thoughts this week?
Yeah, I got something.
Okay.
Still make sure if I move.
Whenever you're ready, get going. I'll start the timer. Go ahead.
Okay, so this one's pretty. This is actually is a good one. I'm just happy to see Homicide back in Ring of Honor. I say it all the time. If 3 guys kept Ring of Honor going during their darkest days, it was Samoa Joe, CM Punk, and Homicide. Give me those 3 on any card, and you will have magic. And I'm glad he's back with Violence Unlimited, this Brody King-led stable, because now that puts him in like this almost like a mentor type role, while still being like a very super violent guy. So. Yeah, more of that. I put out on Twitter the other day, so are we going to give Homicide a chance to be a Grand Slam champion? Is he going to hold all the belt? Because he deserves it. He's earned it. Like, when Ring of Honor should have folded, like I said, he was one of the guys that kept it going. And, he's trained so many people. He's done so much in his career. Give him all the belts. Who cares? So, yeah, I'm happy to see Homicide back in ROH. And, if this is one of his last hurrahs, I hope he goes out on a high note.
Yeah, good. That was definitely welcome news. I know he's getting close to the end of his career. I wouldn't mind seeing him go as a Grand Slam champion too.
And he's also one of the guys who, the number of people, when you actually find out who he's trained, it's like, wow, you didn't even know that until you look it up, and it's pretty cool. So, like I said, if this is like one of his last runs, and I think he should end it in Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor should do whatever they can to keep him there, so he ends up there because. Loyalty, but
Yeah.
He should have a Falls Count Anywhere match.
With CM Punk again.
I mean, whoever. It depends on where their arena's located.
Punk, for his part, did say if the timing was right, he would come back to wrestling with the right storyline, wherever it may be. And he didn't roll out on something else with Samoa Joe because they had something legendary, Ring of Honor. But he did say that on Renee Young's Rachel Paquette's podcast not too long ago. So
yeah, I still contend for every wrestling fan, if you have an hour to spare and can watch their second match from Joe versus Punk 2, it is absolutely worth it, especially if you just watch the last 15 minutes of them seemingly trying to kill each other without weapons. It's like you're just trying to beat the high holy hell out of each other. And my favorite part is when the bell rings, the almost utter disappointment in Joe's face that he could not put Punk down the entire match, because when the time runs out, the look on Joe's face is he just cannot believe that he couldn't do it again. Mm-hmm. So it's a great series. If they wanted to go one more time, dude, I'm in. I'll put on Twitter. Can we get Homicide versus Shane Taylor literally anywhere? I don't care if it's Ring of Honor. I don't care if it's VIP. I don't care if it's in wherever. Just can we get that match now?
Would Joe Punk at this point be like Randy the Ram and? What was it? He wasn't. Was he the? It wasn't the Sheik in the movie. What did they?
Ayatollah.
Right? Yeah.
I hope it won't be that dramatic, but
it would be in Ring of Honor. So I'm just saying. It was
true. Well, damn that! Wow, I forgot. Yeah, okay. I forgot when they filmed it. That was damn. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I watched the documentary over the weekend that was WWE release, and it gives me hope for a certain wrestler that Mike really loves. And WrestleMania about The Miz. There's a lot of things that they covered in there that I didn't know about. There's some backstage footage. And to look at his career in the WWE is amazing. the true underdog story, did the real world, and everyone was just labeled him as a reality star. Couldn't get jobs anywhere, just did the reality thing, really pushed the wrestling, came in on Tough Enough, was already labeled as that. But man, he came in, he dedicated himself. When he wanted to become a wrestler, he did so much. I recommend you watch the documentary to see what this guy went through. Even to the point where the highest point of his career, main eventing WrestleMania, he doesn't remember any of it because he got knocked out midway through the match.
I heard about this. Yeah,
it's a brutal bump against Cena, but to see Cena and Rock take care of him the rest of that match and for him to put off something amazing and finish it, and the way he has dedicated himself, it's an awesome documentary. Why do I bring that up as in reference to Cesaro, Mike? Because Cesaro, there are some parallels to that. He's been stuck in a rut in WWE. He's been down in the dumps on so many low levels. Some maybe not as low as The Miz, but he keeps trucking. He keeps fighting. He keeps working. He keeps perfecting what he's doing. His time is coming. I firmly believe that. And after watching this documentary, I really feel the time is coming for Cesaro. Very much so.
I mean, I hope so. And I will say one thing, and because I agree with you 100%. Like, I've never hated The Miz. I've actually respected for as much as he's done from where he came from. Mm-hmm. I will say this, and I'll be as honest as I can with my love for Cesaro. He doesn't have the charisma that The Miz has, and that is a big part of what's helped The Miz, because his wrestling hasn't always been great. He's improved a lot from earlier in his run, even his championship run till now. Like his matches, he's a solid a worker, and he's been for a long time. But for a while too, his charisma really helped him through that. And Cesaro is just a wrestler. Like, and he's talked about it before. Like, English is not his first language, so he's kind of got that barrier, of I'm sure thinking in his head in a different language, and then coming out in English. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. It's just he that's one thing he definitely that The Miz has in spades, that he's just not at that level. But
But to be fair, the number of people who are at the Miz's level of charisma, I can probably count on two hands. And
you're right about that.
I mean, because like to me, the only time you've had the perfect combination of charisma and great wrestler are guys like Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold. I put Okada in there because I think Okada got it later, because before, when he had Gato as his mouthpiece, he didn't have it yet, but I think he has it now.
Eddie Guerrero
in spades, like but like I think also this is where you have guys like, because honestly, Bret Hart didn't really have it until he went full supervillain, like after WrestleMania 13 to me. And but for Cesaro, I think this is the problem, where especially when they had like Zeb Coulter, was that Dutch Mantle's name at the time, and he was his manager, and they did nothing with that. And I was like, that was the perfect time, because like you said, Cesaro's not a talker. Zeb Coulter is. He could have been that guy that got him there. And of course, Paul Heyman was like, dude, just leave him with a manager and stop breaking him up when he gets hot. And to me, that's always been the problem. It's like he gets hot on his own, and then they try to fizzle him out.
Speaking of that, like, and the funny thing too is, because in the last couple of weeks since WrestleMania, when he it's gone against Reigns or challenge Reigns, Heyman's been talking about he's a Neanderthal, he's not blah blah blah. And it was like, they forget the part that literally after WrestleMania 30, he became a Heyman guy for a short amount of time, and Heyman was his mouthpiece. And then, of course, they dropped the ball with that. But, yeah.
That's the selective memory of WWE booking.
Of course.
I'll leave it with this. One of the funniest moments of the documentary was Ziggler saying he always had the charisma, he's worked on his craft, and now he's the second best wrestler in his house. Maurice is number 1, and he's tied with his dad for number 2. So that was one of the funniest moments of the documentary at the very end. So.
That is hilarious and wrong on so many levels, to the point where Ziggler clap, 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 clap.
Go watch the documentary on Peacock. It's really good. So, yeah.
I've heard a lot of stuff. I kind of want to see some stuff on Ziggler down the road.
I hope so.
Like,
I'm sure.
24, backstage stuff on him.
I want to see more on Ziggler, too.
Yeah.
He's been there a long time. He actually was trying, or I guess did do, like, stand-up shows for a little bit a couple years ago.
clips of some of his stand-up, he's actually legitimately hilarious.
Oh,
Like he's actually super funny to the point where I'm like, if he wants to like go with like him and like Mick Foley and other guys want to do like a tour of like just and that ends up on like Netflix, I am not opposed to that at all because them telling their road stories has got to be hilarious. So
Thank you everyone for joining us on this week's episode of the Countdown City WrestleCast. We do appreciate you letting us talk about Impact Rebellion. Again, if you're catching this after we went live, feel free to comment and share your thoughts. We'll call some of those out. We do that. You can also tweet at us at ccg_WrestleCast. It's at the bottom of your screen. Tommy's pointing to it right now. Mike is as well, and I might as well do it too. We're going to take a week off next week. It's time we just catch a little bit of break, and it kind of works out because with Mike being a teacher, it's testing. This is that time of year. And so we're going to come back in 2 weeks to preview WWE BackLash, or as they're calling it now, WrestleMania BackLash. Just BackLash. Keep it simple. It doesn't, come on. So, why?
Someone said they did that so on Peacock, because they're on Peacock now, people will see the WrestleMania part, and they know WrestleMania. So I was like,
like, really? You're really going to call this? Do you think we're going to look at BackLash and think, oh, this is BackLash from Survivor Series? We know it's post WrestleMania. That's been the whole point of it being named BackLash. We're good with that. But still,
I don't know how adding one word literally ruined one of my favorite pay-per-views. They added one word and just killed. I was like, yay, they're bringing back BackLash. And the second I heard that, just killed any anticipation I had for this pay-per-view. I was like, I immediately no longer care.
We are getting Bianca Belair versus Bayley. That's one match I'm definitely looking forward to on this show.
We'll watch it for that.
Yeah.
Because that I want to see.
What's up, Mike?
again, they just couldn't make a match for Bayley at WrestleMania because apparently she's healthy. She's gonna wrestle. Granted, what she did was funny up until the Bella stuff, but
I will mention she finally did get a Ding Dong Hello t-shirt on WWEshop.com. So if you want to get that, go for it. So yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks to preview BackLash and talk all about what's going on with that show. Unless there's some major wrestling news, we're going to take next week off. But again, let us know your thoughts on Rebellion, and just if there's any sort of big wrestling event maybe that we've missed that you want to discuss, comment here, tweet at us, whatever. Hey, we're always going to talk wrestling. So,
and I'll be in case anyone watches who's in the Austin San Antonio area, I'll be at Buddha for the Mission Pro show this coming Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah, I was about to ask if you're going to go to that too because I saw that was
Thunder Rosa. I think Genocide will be taking on Holly Dead is one of the bigger matches that they're promoting, and Marty Bell is debuting versus La Rosa Negra for the title.
And if you're a big football fan, I'm going to be on the Sports Minorities. We're doing a live reaction to the first round of the NFL draft on Thursday on YouTube. Search Sports Minorities. We're there. We'll be live streaming our reaction to the NFL draft, all the crazy trades that go down in the first round, and just drinking and having fun. It's nice to talk football with some buddies, so you're welcome to join us and everything like that if you want.
Hopefully I'll get some new stuff up on my channel maybe this week or next week, so we'll see.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
For the Countdown City WrestleCast, over here we got Mike.
Be nice to each other, guys. What? You threw me off, man. You always go to me.
Gotcha. Here we got Tommy.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
And I'm JC, and as always, heels and baby faces, remember, pro wrestling is real.
People
are
fake. Thanks, guys. Be good to each other. There we go.
See y'all in 2 weeks. Have a good night.